took the job because I was broke and desperate. Simple as that. My last paycheck barely covered rent. My car was on its last leg. And I was surviving off ramen and gas station coffee when I saw the flyer taped to the laundromat window. Now hiring. Walmart, Nightshift, no experience needed. I didn't even think twice. I applied the same night, interviewed the next morning, and started the shift that evening. It was all too easy, too smooth. They didn't even ask me for a background check, just handed me a blue vest, scanned a badge, and told me to show up at 10 p.m. I remember thinking, man, this is gonna be chill. Just me, a pallet jack, and some boxes, quiet store, empty aisles, fluorescent lights humming overhead. No customers, no stress. What could possibly go wrong, right? The first night started like any other overnight retail gig. The manager on duty, a guy named Travis, gave me a quick tour. Mid-30s, tired eyes, walked with a limp like he'd been doing this way too long. He barely looked at me while talking. Just rattled off the basics. Stick to your zone. Don't mess with the garden center. Don't go past the dock doors. Break at midnight, then back at it until 6. That's it. He handed me a scanner gun and told me I'd be in aisles 9 through 15. Mostly snack foods and drinks, easy stuff. There were only a few other workers on that shift, most kept to themselves, stocking shelves with earbuds in, eyes down. I nodded at one guy when I passed by. He just looked at me like I'd asked him for blood. That's when I started noticing something strange. The store was too quiet, even for night shift. I've worked graveyard retail before, CVS, Target, even a Home Depot for a while. There's always some background hum, a flicker of radio chatter, a machine running, someone cracking a joke in the distance. But here, silence, no music, no announcements, just the buzz of lights and the sound of my own shoes squeaking on the tile. About halfway through my shift, around 12:15 a.m., I went to grab some Gatorade from a nearby cooler. When I turned the corner toward the back of the store, I got completely disoriented. Where the drinks aisle was supposed to be, aisle 12. Right between snacks and household supplies, there was just pet food. I figured I'd walked too far, maybe overshot it. I turned around to double back, but then realized I hadn't passed any freezers. I pulled out my little pocket map they gave me during training. It had a basic layout of the store, a blocky little diagram showing where each section was. Aisle 12 was definitely supposed to be drinks, but it wasn't. It was full of dog food and cat litter, all lined up perfectly like it had always been there. I stood there staring for a while, confused, until someone brushed past me, a woman in a Walmart vest. She was tall, dark hair tied back tight, eyes locked straight ahead like she was marching in a dream. I asked her, "Hey, you ask, do you know where the drink aisle went?" She didn't even look at me, just said one word, "Don't," and then she turned the corner and vanished behind the shelves. Okay, that should have been my first real warning, but I didn't leave. I just chalked it up to being overtired. First night jitters, maybe, or maybe they just remodeled recently and forgot to update the training map. That happens, right? So I went back to my aisle and tried to focus. But the rest of the night just dragged. Time felt weird in there, like it wasn't moving right. I checked my phone a dozen times thinking hours had passed, but only 15 minutes would go by. And the layout, it kept messing with me. I'd swear on my life that I passed the same end cap 3 times. Even though I was walking in a straight line, I even noticed a strange stain on the floor, some black smudge that looked like oil, and it kept reappearing no matter where I went. The worst part, there were no windows. I hadn't realized that until that moment. Walmart usually has a few near the front, by the checkout lanes, right? But I hadn't seen a single window since I clocked in. No exit signs either. Just aisle after aisle after aisle, stretching way farther than the building should have allowed. Around 1:30 a.m., I tried to find Travis again. I walked up to the manager's office, or at least where I thought it was, but it wasn't there anymore. Instead, I found a supply closet filled with mop handles and shrink wrap when I turned around. I kid you not, the hallway I had just walked down was gone, vanished. In its place was another aisle I didn't recognize. It wasn't labeled, just rows and rows of identical blue binders with blank white spines. At that point, my stomach dropped. I remember whispering to myself, "What the hell is going on?" And that's when I saw him, a man, standing at the far end of the aisle, just barely visible in the dim light. He was wearing a Walmart vest, but it looked old. Like really old faded blue with a yellow smiley face that had long been retired. His NAMA tag was cracked and unreadable. He didn't move, he just stood there, facing me. I blinked, and he was gone. I finally ran into Marcus around 2 a.m., the only guy on shift who seemed halfway normal. He was stacking cereal boxes and humming under his breath. I asked him flat out, "Hey man, does this store move around or something?" He paused, looked at me, then gave a nervous laugh. "You saw it, huh?" I just nodded. He glanced around like he didn't want anyone to hear him, then leaned in close. "Look, I'm not supposed to say anything, but just keep your head down. Don't explore, stick to your aisle, and whatever you do, don't be here past 4. "Why?" I asked. He didn't answer, just turned away and kept stacking boxes like we never spoke. I made it through the rest of the shift by basically doing what he said. Stayed in aisles 9 through 15. Didn't wander, kept my eyes down. But I couldn't stop thinking about what I saw. The shifting shelves, the disappearing hallways. The guy in the old vest, and the weirdest part. When I checked my phone at exactly 12:03 a.m., the time I first noticed the aisle being wrong, my screen glitched. Just for a second, it flickered, then went black, then came back on, and the clock said 12:04. But my watch still said 12:03. When my shift ended at 6 a.m., I practically ran to the break room. I wanted to get out of there, go home, sleep, and forget the whole night ever happened. I clocked out, threw my vest in my backpack, and headed for the doors. But as I reached the sliding glass entrance, I turned around for one last look. And something stopped me cold. The layout behind me, the aisles, had changed again. I know this store layout by now. I memorized it. But now where the pharmacy should have been was now seasonal lawn furniture. Where the dairy section used to be was now a massive aisle I didn't recognize. It was dimly lit, no overhead signs, no prices, nothing, just emptiness. I felt this wave of dread wash over me. My feet were frozen in place, and then something even worse. I turned around to go back the way I came, back toward the break room, and found myself staring down an aisle that didn't exist before. I tried to brush it off. Really? I did. I told myself maybe I was tired. Maybe I read the store layout wrong. Maybe I just got turned around. Big place, Lots of aisles, harsh lights, poor sleep, simple mistake, right? But then it happened again. Second shift, same time, just after midnight. 1 minute I was stocking the snack shelves near aisle 13, and the next, I walked out to grab a new box of Lay's from the back, and the freezer section was just gone, vanished, replaced by women's clothing racks. And I'm not talking about some floor reset or a corporate overnight move. These were metal racks that weren't there before. Old ones too, rusted on the bottom, like they'd been sitting there for decades. The carpet under them didn't even match the Walmart floor. It was this greenish-gray checker pattern that felt more like an abandoned mall. I actually laughed at first, like a single, confused, awkward laugh. I even said out loud, "Okay, am I dreaming?" But I wasn't. I wasn't dreaming, because when I looked down at my phone to check the time, it was stuck. 12:03 a.m. Again, just like the first night. No blinking, no seconds ticking, just frozen. That was the moment I stopped trying to pretend. It was normal, because from then on, things got worse. Toys were next to frozen meat. Diapers were stacked beside screwdrivers. The signs overhead still said the right aisle names, but what was underneath them made 0 sense. And the weirder part, nobody else reacted. Not a single person. They walked right past the madness. Didn't blink, didn't slow down. I watched one guy, a stalker in his 40s, walk straight into an aisle that had literal wallpaper peeling from the ceiling, like he couldn't even see it. Another guy was stocking garden hoses next to boxes of cereal like it was totally normal. I couldn't understand it, so I asked Marcus again. He was stacking laundry detergent at the time, real casual earbuds in. Same dead-eyed look as usual. "Hey," I whispered, "are you seeing this? The aisles are changing. They're totally messed up again." He didn't look at me. Just paused his scanner and said, "Don't try to fix it." "What?" He turned toward me, finally met my eyes. "Don't try to fix it. Just do your job. And don't be here at 3:33. I waited for a smirk, a laugh, something to tell me he was messing with me, but he was serious, completely serious. He went right back to scanning bottles of Tide like we didn't just have that conversation. I thought I was losing it, so I did the one thing I probably wasn't supposed to do. I checked the security monitors again. I snuck into the manager's office around 1:45 a.m. when I knew Travis was out on the floor. The room smelled like coffee and printer ink. 3 monitors sat on the desk, stacked with camera feeds from all over the store. I tapped the spacebar to wake them up. What I saw made my blood run cold. The feed from camera 5, facing aisle 9, started flickering. It glitched for a second, then the aisle changed completely. Right in front of me, the toothpaste and shampoo shelves warped like melting wax. And suddenly, they were replaced by baby dolls. Rows and rows of pale plastic baby dolls. Just staring into the lens, I jumped back, looked at another feed. Camera 12, aisle 3. It glitched to 1 second, cereal and chips. Next second, an endless stretch of hallway with no products, just darkness and something standing at the far end. A shadow too tall to be human, just watching. And then the camera feed died, gone, black screen, no explanation. I backed away, freaked out, heart pounding. I had proof now. This wasn't just my imagination. I went to find Marcus again, but he was nowhere. I checked the back room. break area, even the loading dock, gone. So I wandered. I don't know why. Curiosity. Panic. Something in between. And that's when I found the notes, tucked behind a roll of paper towels in aisle 11. There was a yellow sticky note. It said, "Don't follow the voices after midnight. They don't belong to who you think they do." That froze me in place, because just the night before, I had heard my mom's voice, faint, from the electronics section. And my mom's been dead for 2 years. I started searching. Behind the soup cans, if you see a door that wasn't there before, don't open it, no matter what. Stuck to the underside of a shelf with chewed gum, avoid aisle 0. I didn't even know there was an aisle 0. I stuffed the notes into my pocket. Every single one I could find. When I turned around, a guy in a red vest was watching me. Not blue, red, old school, 90s Zero Walmart vest with a faded yellow smiley face. His Nama tag was cracked and unreadable. I blinked. He was gone. I went back to the manager's office. I don't know why. I guess part of me thought maybe I could rewind the feeds or find something useful. The door was open wider this time. All the monitors were on, but one thing was different. There was a feed labeled Cam X. I hadn't noticed it before. It showed a long, narrow aisle I didn't recognize. All white shelves, all empty. No signs, no people, just sterile. I stared at it for a few seconds. Then someone walked in too. The frame, it was me. Same blue vest, same haircut, same barcode scanner in my left hand. But I wasn't in that aisle. I had never walked into that aisle, and yet there I was, just standing. Still, frozen. Then, and I swear to God that version of me turned its head toward the camera and smiled. It was my face, but the eyes weren't mine. They were wrong. Too dark, too wide. I slammed the monitor off and nearly ran out of that room. That night, I didn't go back to stocking. I sat in the break room until 6 a.m. Holding my knees like some shell-shocked war vet, Travis walked in at the end of shift. Like nothing happened. Asked how I was doing, told me to keep up the good work. I wanted to scream at him, ask him what the hell kind of store this was. But I couldn't get the words out. Instead, I just nodded and walked out into the morning light like a zombie. I didn't sleep much that day. Kept seeing that version of me, the one in the monitor. Kept hearing Marcus's words. Don't try to fix it. Don't be here at 3:33. And now I had a new question haunting me. If I wasn't the one walking down that white aisle, then what the hell was? I think Marcus was watching me after what I saw on the monitors. After seeing myself in an aisle I never walked into, I came into my third shift with a plan. Keep my head down, do the damn job, and don't go exploring. No more detours, no more questions. But the second I stepped through the automatic doors, he was there. Standing next to the soda cooler like he'd been waiting for me. Break room, he said quietly. Now, no hey, no how's it going, no smile, just that I followed him without asking why. Honestly, I didn't want to hear it. Out on the floor anyway, the break room was empty, not unusual. Most people here didn't seem to take breaks, at least not at the same time. They just vanished between aisles and showed up at the end of shift like they'd respawned. Marcus sat down in the corner, away from the vending machines, and pulled something from his pocket. It was a crumpled Walmart receipt, folded for maybe 5 times. He smoothed it out on the table, grabbed a pen from behind his ear, and started writing. Didn't say anything, just wrote. I sat there staring while he scribbled on that dirty slip of paper like it was some ancient scroll. Then, without looking up, he slid it across the table. To me, read that, he said, and don't ask questions till I'm done. I picked it up. There were rules, actual, handwritten rules, 7 of them, numbered. 1. Never stay in an aisle that disappears from the map. If it's not on the official store layout, leave fast. Doesn't matter what you see inside. 2. Don't follow voices after midnight, no matter how familiar they sound. They're not real. They're bait. 3. If you see yourself walk the other way, fast, that thing learns. Every time you look, it gets closer. 4. Don't be in the garden center at 3:33 a.m. Ever. If the doors open on their own, run. 5. Don't talk to employees with red vests. There haven't been red vests here since 1997. 6. If you find aisle 0, close your eyes. Do not walk down it, no matter what's calling you. 7. If you make it to sunrise, leave without turning around. And never take anything with you, not even your name tag. I stared at the list for a long time. It didn't feel like a prank. It didn't feel like hazing. There was something in the way he wrote it, something urgent, scared. You're serious, I finally said. Marcus nodded, still didn't smile. How long have you worked here? I asked. He didn't answer that, just said, long enough. Then he leaned in, lowered his voice like the air itself was listening. This place, it's not just a store, it's old, built on top of something it shouldn't be, every night. The layout resets, not because of stock, not because of corporate. He tapped the paper. It rearranges itself, rearranges us. I tried to laugh. I swear, I really tried to laugh, but nothing came out. Why me? I asked. Why tell me all this? He looked at me with this deep sadness in his eyes. Because you see it, he said. Most people don't. They clock in, clock out. Never notice, but you're awake now. You can't unsee it. I looked down at the receipt again. The rules burned into my mind. What happens if I break one? He looked away. Nobody breaks two. That night I kept my head on a swivel. And yeah, I saw it again. The changes at exactly 12:03 a.m. Just like clockwork, the layout warped, aisles twisted, shelves shifted. The toy section melted into the deli. Produce got swallowed by lawn chairs, and I kept thinking about Rule 2. Don't follow voices after midnight. It was almost laughable until I heard it. My mom's voice, clear as day, coming from the back near automotive, sweetheart. I froze. Goosebumps lit up every inch of my arms. My breath caught in my chest. Sweetheart, are you there? The exact tone she used when I was a kid and I wandered too far in the grocery store. But my mom's been gone for 2 years. Cancer, fast, brutal. There was no way her voice should be echoing through this place. But there it was, calling again. Can you come help me with something? I took 1 step toward it, then 2, then stopped. I remembered Rule 2. They're not real. They're bait. But God, it sounded so real, so warm. Then I heard something else. Wheels. The soft squeak of a shopping cart. I turned the corner, and there she was, a silhouette. Her silhouette, standing in flickering light at the end of the aisle, holding a shopping cart. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. She turned and smiled, just like I remembered. Except something was wrong with her eyes. Too big, too glossy, too empty, like they were made of glass. She opened her mouth to speak again, but what came out wasn't words. It was static, radio static, garbled and buzzing. And just behind her, something moved in the shadows, something taller watching. I turned and ran. Didn't stop until I reached the break room. Didn't even look back. I sat there shaking, holding that crumpled receipt in both hands like a lifeline. The rules were real, every single one, and I hadn't even made it to Rule 4 yet. I should have followed the rules. I wanted to. God knows I tried. But something about Rule 4, the one about the garden center, it got stuck in my head. Don't be in the garden center at 3:33 a.m. Ever. That's what it said. Simple, direct, no explanation. Just don't. But the more I tried to ignore it, the more it pulled at me. I started thinking, what happens there? What's so bad about that place? It's what makes it different from the rest of this cursed store. That curiosity, it chewed away at my fear, and fear, when it festers long enough, starts to look a lot like temptation. The garden center was always chained off during night shift. Big padlock on the gate, lights off, a sign that said closed. For season, even though it was early spring, I'd passed it a dozen times during my shifts. Never once crossed the line, until tonight. Until the minute hand on my watch ticked to 3:32 a.m., I don't even remember walking there. It felt like I was being pulled, like gravity had shifted in that direction and I was just falling toward it. The padlock. Gone. The chain. Undone, hanging loose. I could have turned around right there. Should have, but instead, I slid the gate open and stepped inside. It wasn't Walmart anymore. I mean that literally. The second I crossed the threshold, everything changed. The floor wasn't tile. It was cracked concrete, damp and uneven. The air, ice cold, heavy with this earthy, rotten smell. Mulch and mildew and something else I couldn't name. Fog curled around my ankles, thick and low. Like it was breathing out from the ground itself. The rows of plants, they weren't normal. Dead ferns, shriveled vines, blackened stems that twitched when I got too close. Some of them were growing upside down. Others were growing into each other, twisting, fusing. I passed a plastic lawn chair and watched as moss slowly spread across it in real time and overhead. The ceiling was gone. In its place was darkness, not night sky, not rafters, just a void. Endless black stretching up farther than I could comprehend. Like I was standing at the bottom of a well. I turned to leave. That was enough. I didn't need to see more. But the gate I came through, gone. In its place was another aisle, longer than it should have been. No signs, just broken pots, scattered soil, and flickering string lights that crackled when I stepped too close. I started walking, fast, breathing heavy now, but the aisle didn't end, it just kept going, and then the whispers started, low at first, like wind brushing dead leaves, then words, garbled, wet. Like someone was speaking through a mouthful of dirt. You came back. We didn't forget. I froze. Then one whisper came louder, closer, and it said something that stopped my heart cold. It said my childhood nickname, the one only my mother and sister ever used. Nobody at Walmart knew that name. Hell, I hadn't heard it in over 15 years. I turned slowly, and there it was. Not a person, not really. A shape, humanoid, but wrong. Its skin looked like wet bark. Its arms too long, its fingers ending in roots. Or tendrils, its face blurry, like my eyes couldn't agree on what I was seeing. It crouched at the end of the aisle, half buried in a bed of black mulch, tilting its head at me, smiling, I think, and whispering my name again. That same nickname, over and over. It didn't move toward me. It didn't have to, because everything around me was moving instead. The plants leaned in, the shelves closed. Tight, the lights above shattered, one by one, plunging everything into shadow. I ran, God. I ran like my life depended on it, because I think it did. I don't remember how long I was in there. I don't remember how far I ran, but eventually, I found myself collapsed behind a pallet of potting soil, shaking, gasping for air, and that's when I heard footsteps, real ones, human ones. Marcus, a key found me. Don't ask me how. His flashlight hit my face and I flinched like a wild animal. A key dropped down beside me and hissed, "Are you insane?" I couldn't speak. I couldn't even form words. He grabbed my shoulders. "You went in there?" he asked, at this time. I nodded, barely. He looked over his shoulder, toward the fog behind us. Then he said something I'll never forget. "That thing knows you now." I swallowed hard. "What thing?" He didn't answer. He just whispered, "It remembered you. I don't remember leaving." I must have blacked out or something, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in my car, parked in the back of the Walmart lot, sun just rising over. The edge of the building, I was freezing cold. My hands were dirty, mud under every nail, mulch stuck to my pants, and something was in my pocket. I reached in and pulled it out. It was a name tag, not mine, not even the current design. It was old, yellowed, cracked. It read, Clara Garden Center Staffy. Turned it over. There was a date written on the back in faded Sharpie, April 3rd, 1998. 27 years ago, I sat there staring at it for a long time. Then I looked up at the Walmart entrance, and for just a second, I thought I saw something watching me from inside the glass, tall, thin, rooted in shadow, still whispering my name. I tried to quit. I swear on everything. I tried. After the garden center, after that thing whispered my name and I woke up in my car with someone else's name tag, I told myself I was done. I wasn't going back in there, not for a paycheck, not for answers, not for anything. So I did what any sane person would do. I called the store. Phone rang 5 times, then someone picked up. Walmart. How can I direct your call? A voice, mail.com. To calm, I cleared my throat. Hey, this is Nate. I work overnight stocking. I'm not coming in anymore. I need to quit or transfer or whatever. I can't keep doing this. There was silence. Then the line crackled and the voice said, "We need you." 3 words. Cold, flat, robotic, and then it repeated, "We need you, we need you, we need you," over and over, looping. I hung up, tried calling again. Same thing, "We need you," like the store knew I was trying to leave, like it was answering directly. I threw my phone across the room. It didn't break. I almost wished it had that night. I wasn't on the schedule. I checked the shift calendar in our work app, completely blank next to my name. Still, something told me not to drive by, but curiosity is a hell of a drug. Around midnight, I got in my car and started driving, just to see, just to make sure it was real, that I wasn't dreaming everything up. When I turned onto the access road near Walmart, my engine cut out, just died. No warning, no reason. The lights on the dash went black, my headlights flickered once, and then the car went completely dead. I sat there, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the building in front of me, the Walmart. Sin was on, too bright, flickering just slightly, like it was breathing, and the front doors. They opened automatically, like it was waiting, like it was welcoming me back. I don't know why I got out of the car. Maybe I wasn't in control anymore. Maybe that place had already gotten inside my head, my blood, my name. All I know is that I stepped out of the car, walked across the parking lot, and the closer I got, the quieter everything became. No wind, no traffic, not even my footsteps. Silence, like being underwater. When I stepped through the automatic doors, the world shifted. Instantly, the layout was gone. I mean, completely. There were no aisles anymore, just corridors, winding in spirals, stacked on top of each other. Staircases that led to nowhere, escalators stuck mid-motion like time had frozen around them, shelves hung from the ceiling, the floor shimmered like wet glass. I turned to leave. But behind me, where the doors had been, there was only a mirror, a huge floor-to-ceiling mirror. I looked into it and saw myself, but it wasn't me now. It was me from the first night. My old name tag, my same haircut, same scanner gun in my left hand. He smiled at me, then walked away into a completely different aisle than the one I was in. I wandered, trying to make sense of the layout, but everything shifted the second I turned my head. Aisle numbers blinked in and out of existence. Signs in different fonts, some handwritten, some upside down. I passed a row of televisions, and they were playing security footage, but not from before, from later. From nights that hadn't happened yet. I saw myself limping across the toy section. Bleeding, I saw myself screaming behind the deli counter, banging on the glass as something circled behind me, and on one screen, I saw myself smiling, calm, empty, like I'd accepted something terrible. I turned away. I ran into the back hallway, the one that usually leads to the break room. The locker bays, the manager's offices, but now it was lined with mirrors on both sides. Every mirror showed a different version of me. One where I never took the job, one where I was still working, but with black holes for eyes. One where I wasn't human at all anymore, just a skin filled with TV static. I covered my face and ran. My foot hit something solid. I fell hard. When I sat up, I saw it. A name tag, Mayars, cracked, clean down the middle. Bent, faded. I picked it up. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate. I turned around. And I saw him, Marcus, but not really. He was wearing the right vest, had the same haircut, same smirk, but his eyes were wrong, too wide, too bright. His face twitched like a corrupted JPEG. He stood in the baby aisle, holding a stuffed giraffe, and smiling at me like we were old friends. He didn't speak, he just pointed at the ceiling. I looked up and saw hundreds of mannequins glued to the tiles, all of them with my face, grinning. I started screaming. I don't even remember what I said, but when I looked back down, Marcus was gone. Only the giraffe remained, still warm. I ran again, wound my way through impossible geometry, turned a corner, and found myself face to face with myself. But not in a mirror this time. A real, physical copy. Same clothes, same haircut, same dead eyes. He blinked once, then said, "Welcome back." I punched him. My fist went through him like water. He smiled and melted into the floor. I heard laughter over the speakers, then music. The Walmart theme song slowed down, distorted. Then the intercom came on. I heard a voice, my voice, calm, monotone, robotic. A key said, "Clean up in aisle 0. I stopped breathing. I remembered Rule 6. A key, if you find aisle 0, close your eyes. Do not walk down it. But I didn't have a choice, because right ahead of me, where the floor had split open, was a glowing blue-lit sign, "Aisle 0 gives," and the smell coming from it was familiar. Earth, roots, fog, just like the garden center, but deeper, older, something that's been waiting a long, long time. And then the lights went out. The lights went out, just like that, total darkness, but not normal darkness. It was wrong, dense, heavy, like the shadows had weight, like they were crawling along the floor, climbing into my mouth, wrapping around my ribs. The only thing still glowing was the sign, AISLE 0 gives. I knew the rule. If you find aisle 0, close your eyes. Do not walk down it. But I was already walking, like something inside me had given up, or maybe given in. Each step felt deeper than the last, like I was descending, not forward. Like the hallway was bending gravity itself. Shelves started rising up on either side, tall, metal ones that creaked as I passed, stocked with things that didn't make sense. Name tags from people I never met, stacks of VHS tapes labeled in handwriting, JAN3 shift, trial run 2, failed clone, jars of teeth, baby monitors filled with static, and one shelf, the last one, had dozens of photos. All of me. Different versions, smiling, crying, dead. One had my eyes scratched out. I kept going. I don't know how long I walked. Time doesn't work the same down here. Eventually, the shelves gave way to dirt. Just dirt, packed soil underfoot, roots in the walls, a strange smell, not rot exactly, but memory. Like old school carpet and childhood dreams that went stale. Fog rolled in from nowhere, thick, cold, and then it parted like curtains. And I found myself standing in a massive underground chamber. In the center of the room was a root system, massive, alive. It pulsed, slow and steady like a sleeping lung. Veins of glowing blue light ran through it, lighting the room in flickers, like it was breathing electricity. It stretched in every direction, into the soil, into the ceiling, into the very foundation of the store. That's when I understood this place wasn't haunted. It wasn't cursed. It was alive. The Walmart was. A living organism, ancient, buried, hidden beneath years of asphalt and concrete and smiley-faced capitalism. It didn't just exist. It fed on us, our patterns, our routines, our identities. That's why the shifts were so structured. That's why the aisles moved. It didn't want efficiency. It wanted submission. It rearranged itself not to confuse us, but to consume us, to keep us walking, stocking, repeating until we became part of it and night shift workers. We were the easiest targets, isolated, undocumented, easy to erase. I stepped closer to the root system. There was something embedded in it, something reflective, a mirror, not made of glass, but something else, shimmering like oil on water. Alive, I looked into it. And it showed Mimi, but not me now. Me, the way it wanted me, smiling, stocking shelves, empty. Repeating the same for tasks for eternity. Break boxes, fill shelves, scan product, smile, again, and again. And I wasn't trapped in that reflection. I was content. I stared for what felt like hours. Then it spoke, not in words, not out loud, but in my head. It offered me something, a choice. Stay, and I'd never hurt again. No stress, no pain, no loneliness, just purpose, belonging, repetition, perfect order where I could walk away, forget everything. 'Twould let me go free, but hollow. I wouldn't remember the rules, wouldn't remember the truth, just a deep, gnawing emptiness that would never leave. The cost of freedom was forgetting. The price of remembering was servitude. I don't remember making the choice. Not really. Maybe I never had one. I woke up the next morning in my bed. Everything looked normal. Sunlight through the blinds, phone on the charger, no dirt, no fog, no mulch under my nails. I thought maybe it was all a nightmare. Until I saw the vest hanging on the back of my door, Walmart blue. Perfectly clean, pressed, like it had been prepared for me. There was a name tag clipped to it, Nate Still Warm. I didn't go to work that night, didn't even leave the house, but something felt off, like the world was still shifting, like the aisles had followed me home. I'd walk into the kitchen and come out in the hallway. I'd open my fridge and hear the Walmart intercom buzz. And sometimes, late at night, I'd hear boxes sliding across tile. Even though I live alone, one night I tried to burn the vest, lit a match, dropped it into the tub with the fabric. The flame went out, just fizzled. The vest didn't even smoke. It was wet when I picked it up. With what? I still don't know. Now I'm just waiting. I don't clock in anymore. I don't answer the phone when the store calls. But every few weeks, something happens. I wake up to find a shopping cart on my porch full of merchandise I didn't buy. Sometimes it's harmless, sometimes. It's not. One morning I found a photo in the cart. Me, standing in front of a broken mirror, my eyes hollow, behind me, in the reflection that thing from the garden center. Still watching, still smiling. People ask why I don't move, why I don't leave town, burn the place down. get help. But deep down, I know the truth. There's nowhere to run. Because the Walmart isn't just a place anymore. It's inside me. And maybe it always was. Some nights, I'll fall asleep on the couch with the TV on, just trying to drown out the silence, and I'll wake up, not in my house, but in the stockroom, holding a scanner, wearing the vest. And there's this awful music playing overhead, that weird, slow version of the Walmart welcome song. And I'm walking in circles, stocking shelves that refill themselves every time I turn around. Okay, no end, no exit, just endless aisles. Last week, I looked in the mirror and something looked back. It was me, but not. Smiling, two wide eyes, too dark, and behind him, another me, stocking shelves in perfect rhythm, like a machine. Like I was watching layers of myself all operating on loops, deeper and deeper down. So yeah, I made my decision. I chose to walk away, to forget, but sometimes I wake up in my bed and that vest is back on the door, waiting, pressed, smiling, and in my dreams, I'm still stocking aisle 37. But the store doesn't have an aisle 37, not anymore, not since the last time it rearranged.